Hey everyone, we got some big news out of Ford today that could also have huge implications for Rivian stock and Tesla stock investors, although more so for Rivian than for Tesla. Although it still could be meaningful news with Tesla coming out with the Cybertruck in 2024. So in this video, I'm going to highlight what the news is from Ford. I'm going to discuss what it could mean for Ford, Rivian, and Tesla stock investors. So if you're interested in any of those stocks, this video is going to have information for you. So let's jump right into it.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.
So the big news that came out of Ford today was that Ford will cut its planned production of its all-electric F-150 pickup to roughly half next year. So the new production plans call for average volumes of around 1,600 F-150 Lightnings per week. That was lower from the initial plans of roughly 3,200 per week on average. So half of what it was initially intending to produce. Now management saying that they're doing this to match with consumer demand. So it's another way of saying that consumer demand isn't there for us to be producing 3,200 per week. Now remember, just a little while ago, EV companies like Ford and others were having difficulty matching consumer demand. Demand was so high that there was pre-orders and back orders waiting to be fulfilled. That's no longer the case. Now you're hearing more and more of companies cutting back production, slowing production growth, because consumer demand for electric vehicles is just not that strong, at least not strong enough to match with the increase in supply. It seems like what's happening with a lot of the electric vehicle supply is that they got ahead of themselves. Many of these manufacturers thought that the excess in demand was going to be long lasting, and they all increased production. Ford, GM, Stellantis, Kia, Tesla, Rivian, Fisker, NIO, all of these EV companies have massively increased production, and demand has increased, right? Sales of EVs are up nearly 50% this year compared to last year, but it's not keeping pace with the increase in supply. And so there's a mismatch in the market. Let me show you more details on that mismatch. So here I have Ford's November sales figures, and what you'll notice in the yellow is the F-150 Lightning, the electric version, and the regular F-150 or the F-250, just the F series in general for Ford. And what you'll notice in the most recent month, Ford sold 4,393 F-150 electric versions. That was up 113% year over year. So significant increase. But look at how many F series they sold overall, over 53,000 F series. And what that highlights to me is that for every person that's choosing to buy an electric version of the F-150, there's more than 10 that are choosing to buy the internal combustion engine version. And if you look at for the year, Ford has sold 20,000 electric versions of the F-150 and more than 679,000 regular internal combustion engine versions, more than 30 to 1 difference between people choosing the electric version and the traditional internal combustion engine version. So when people are given a choice between the EV version and the internal combustion engine version, this example highlights the significant favor for internal combustion engine. Electric vehicles are more expensive, less convenient, and the charging infrastructure is just not rolled out enough to make these vehicles the preferred choice for consumers. And so Ford, like many other EV companies or companies that are selling EVs, is scaling back and saying, you know what, we thought we were going to sell this many. It turns out, no, we're not. We've got to lower our production. We've got to lower our goals, lower our targets. And so what does this mean for Rivian? Remember, Rivian, the two primary vehicles Rivian sells is the R1S and the R1T. The R1T is the pickup truck. And so if demand is not that strong for electric pickup trucks, That signals bad news for Rivian's prospects in 2024. Also, management of Rivian has said that they have stronger demand for the SUV than they do for the pickup. And so we've already seen that hints coming out from Rivian about that the SUV, the electric version, is more highly sought after than the pickup. So demand for electric version pickup trucks, not that strong. Not strong for EV pickup trucks. Well, who's got a major launch of an electric version pickup truck coming out in 2024? Or it just recently launched and they're taking orders. Tesla, right? Tesla just recently announced that it was launching the Cybertruck. It's ready for orders right now. And Tesla has capacity for 125,000 units, a little over 125,000 units for the Cybertruck in 2024. Now, I recently did a video you may have already seen about my prediction for the Cybertruck in 2024, and the overall conclusion of that video was that Tesla's Cybertruck sales are not likely to be as strong as they would like, or if they are going to make those strong sales, because Tesla's strategy, it looks like, is to lower the price to increase production if they need to, and it looks like they are going to need to lower the price to increase production to increase demand, because the hints that we're getting from the marketplace is that demand for electric pickup trucks is not strong, or is at least not as strong as initially expected. So 125,000 capacity for 2024. Sure, maybe Tesla hits this target, and I would estimate that it's more likely to get closer to this target and sacrifice profit margins instead of having lower demand and lower sales. They'd prefer, I think, to decrease the price and increase sales for the Cybertruck. But now, with this news coming out of Ford, is it good news or bad news for Tesla? You could argue it's bad news because it indicates that customer demand is not strong. You can also argue that it's good news because there's going to be less supply in the market, like half from Ford, right? Ford was going to produce 3,200 per week. Now they're only going to produce 1,200 per week. And so that's less supply in the market, which is typically good news for competitors because you don't have to compete with as much supply in the marketplace. You might not have to lower your price as much to make those sales. So is it bad news or good news for Rivian and Tesla? That remains to be seen. That remains to be seen. I mean, we've already got plenty of news suggesting that demand for electric vehicles is not strong. Electric pickup trucks is not strong, at least not as strong as noted. So this news coming out of Ford, the latest update that it's going to cut production in half for the F-150, I would tend to view it as good news for Rivian and Tesla. I would tend to view it as good news because that's significantly lower supply in the marketplace, significantly lower supply, nearly 75,000 units for the year lower than it was initially expected from Ford, right? So that's big, big. If you're looking at Cybertruck is at only 125,000 unit capacity. But remember, this is just initial estimates. If demand turns out to be stronger than expected, Ford has the capacity to ramp it up. Ford has the ability to ramp it up, increase capacity in a relatively short amount of time, and really boost supply to the marketplace. So big news coming out of Ford here mean that they're one of the larger producers, right? Rivian overall probably won't produce 75,000 units across its brand, all three of its production products, right? And Tesla might only produce 2.3 million vehicles for all of 2024. At least that's the consensus estimates, right? So Ford is a much larger scale manufacturer. And so when it announces a cut in supply of half for a major product, it's big, big news for the industry overall. Did you know that over 90% of the people that watch my channel are not subscribed? It'll really help support my channel if you hit that subscribe button. And oh, by the way, one of the benefits of being subscribed is that I take requests from subscribers more often than I do from non-subscribers. So if you prefer that benefit, please subscribe to the channel.